Namaskaram and a very good evening. How many of you are done with the assignment? Alright, let me share the screen. Is everyone able to see the screen? Okay, can I confirm now? Is everybody able to see the screen now? Okay, let's look at this. Okay, fair enough. This is not complete, but the point is it will give you a quick idea. Now, when you see a question in the exam, let's say you spot a question. Once you spot a question, you understand that it has come from chapter 6, auditing in an automated environment. This is where you are clear. Once that is spotted, the quality of the answer and the amount of time you take to answer that question or write that answer in the exam would directly depend on how fast you spot the bracket. Because once everything gets into your head, it gets mixed. You kind of study in terms of different answers and different questions. But while it gets into your head, unless you are doing something strategic, it gets mixed. So while you're bringing out, you generally bring out random words from random questions and random answers. It's all mixed up. It's not very clear. It's not segregated. So this will help you to first understand, are you talking about better security here? Is the question asking you to talk about direct data changes? Are you talking about unauthorized access? So it will further fix the location. It will further pinpoint the location of the answer. And this will happen in real time. Even otherwise, it will take, let's say, it will take a couple of minutes otherwise, but it will get the thing done in 10-20 seconds. So you should be able to have, this is a very basic level. It can be far more detailed. It can add further subsets, but at a very basic level, this is something which you should have. And I would recommend you to stick it to your wall. Keep looking at this every given day. It's just single glance, and you should be able to remember this. And this framework and this is flow chart, it should be there on your mind, not just on the paper. Before you go to the exam, it should be there on your mind for each and every subject. This is a bare minimum. If you're not even able to remember one heading, if you're not even able to remember one index, if you're not able to read one page, how can you remember 100 pages, right? This is something very basic, and you need to remember this visually also. The moment you see the question, you should be able to attribute. The second advantage is you can write the specific keywords, precise keywords, excessive access. You're not talking about over access. You're not talking about unlimited access. You're talking about excessive access. And you're talking about lack of adequate segregation. This is the keyword. This is a specific word terminology which is used in the institute book. Unless you write it here, unless you keep a framework of this, it will really get difficult for you to directly replicate it. Your answer will become a bit loose. It will become a bit generalistic. Okay, so you need to be very clear. And then once you get into the type of controls, you mentioned about general controls, application controls, and IT dependent controls. You also have to add few more controls here. What are the specific general controls, you can build on it, but overall it should not exceed one page. This is a good one actually. Next we'll look at the other chapter. Let's say this is leverages. Yes, this is also fine, because in this, first, the moment you're talking about leverage, you should clearly understand what is the question testing. Is it about operating? Is it about financial? Is it about combined? So automatically you should either focus on left hand side, middle, or right. It will give you direction. Let's say most of the questions, if you are coming from operating leverage, now it is very clear, right? The X is irrelevant. You should clearly understand what exactly is the structure, what are the figures. Now when you build a framework, similarly when you first, if you start building a framework, the same sales less variable cost, when you get contribution, once you build it, then you just have to go back to the question and identify it. So overall you're just building a structure. I'll give you more practical examples towards the end of the session, which I actually do in real life, but this is a structure. First build the structures, then fill in the blanks. You cannot build everything together. Please understand, every answer undergoes some construction. The more parts, the more different modules you have clearly defined, it will be faster for you to do it. Okay, this is also fine for a paper which has practical problems, or a chapter which has a formulae or a structure or a framework. I just need to zoom in further. Okay, this is about differences between private cloud and public cloud, and this has some of the important keywords about your chapter 8 in ISCA. So this is also fine, but as I said, if you want to make it far more integrated, if you make it far more detailed, get the chapter name to the middle, then create a spider diagram if you want. Otherwise this will also work. It is a lot better than reading from the entire chapter multiple times, and this is what you should be taking to your exam. Like if you have to study something from 12 noon to 1, 2 o'clock is the exam. If you have to study something from 12 to 1, these are the papers you should be studying, not some random 2-3 questions. These are the papers you should be studying, which will help you, answer any type of question in that. White sheets would be a bit neat, but that's okay. I am having some trouble with understanding the writing. If you're able to understand your writing, that's pretty good. But if you are not able to understand your own writing, then please make sure you take more time. See, if you have to write this, if it takes 5 minutes, if you have to write neatly, it will take only 7-8 minutes. That's it. But the 7-8 minutes will be very eye candy. You can capture this, and save it, because your mind has to remember that, your mind has to replicate that. So I would recommend, if you put a bit of effort and make it a bit more neater or clear, so that it is easier to replicate. But if you're able to understand it already, no issue. So this is fine. All the chapters which you have mentioned, this is fine. Fair enough. Yeah. This is good. Yes. This literally can answer any question from this. This is very clear. When I say clear, the content, the scope is very clear, including the percentages which are required. So this will serve as a perfect super summary. This is exactly what I'm trying to tell you. Super summary. This can become a complete substitute for the entire chapter. You just have to go and apply it. Okay. This is very good. You can go with this level of detailing. Yes, even this one. Yes, so precisely you're covering each and everything, right? Each and everything. So any question, it's just a matter of, say, you might get a question about what are the objectives of IS audit. Now you remember this, you only remember this, and then you build on the top of it. You build on the top of it two advantages. One is speed, two is faster recollections. Speed in writing, you can write it faster and you can recollect faster, and most importantly, relevance. You can exactly correlate to what has to be written. Okay, this is clear. This is like GPS map for recollecting your answers. Yes, this is also good. The more colors you have, the easier it would be for you to remember them. The easier it would be for you to remember them. Yes, this is also fine. So you can keep adding on when you study something. If you think you have missed out something, you can keep adding on with a different color. If you're forgetting something, you can highlight it. You can highlight it. This is good. So a lot of work has been done. It is clearly evident. This is also pretty good. Yes, this would do. Ratios and analysis, what are the different one? So once you understand it, based on that, you can actually see when you say that it's a turnover ratio, your thought will focus on something else instead of liquidity. You'll understand why liquidity is needed, why turnover is needed. So it will also determine where you have to focus on the sum, where you have to focus on the numbers. This is the added advantage. The benefits are numerous, and most likely this is the most effective thing. This is the most effective way of revising 1 hour before the exam. One day before the exam, yes, you have to study far more, but 1 hour before the exam, this will be super helpful. Let me look at Kunjan also. Okay, this is about one particular section. All right. Yes, this is good. The most difficult subject, whether it's your theory or practice, do this. The most difficult subject, do this. Otherwise, it is very difficult for you. Whatever subject you think you're getting stuck at 30, 35, just do this. 10 pages. 10 pages, read it 10 times. It will move to 45. It will move to 45 and 35 by only reading this 10 pages 10 times. Done. This is mine. Manogna. Fair enough. Yes. This is pretty complete. So it has got everything. This is fine. Yeah. So here what you're doing, you're dividing the entire chapter into 3 to 4 parts. In each part, these are the subsets. Subset 1, subset 2, subset 3, subset 4. Even if you're doing a spiral diagram, it is like this. I would say subset 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you're doing it a spiral matrix, it goes like your web, right? Complete web. So this is also like this. That's okay. So this is also serving the cause. Yes. Same here. Fair enough. This covers the important aspects. This covers the important aspects. It gives you a very good context. And do read them every day. Do read them every given day. Okay. It only have to spend like, see, every day spend at least 25 minutes on this. No matter how many sheets you create, spend at least 25 minutes, because each sheet will take only 2-3 minutes. We call it mere exposure. Multiple times you're getting exposed. You can actually see the content even if you don't remember. That is the level of precision which you'll get. I think Mitesh, we looked at it already. Yeah. Yes. Fair enough. The only thing is the level of detailing can improve. Oh, Path has done something pretty good. Yes. This is the best way. This is the fantastic way for you to remember your professional ethics, because I think you still have weights of 16 to 20 marks for this, right? Even in Caro, if you have to remember at least the clauses in that order, it will solve something, not everything. But as long as your professional ethics are considered, you just have to identify where is this. Let's say the solution is here. The solution is here. That will solve 50-60% of the problem. Yes, this is pretty good. Fair enough. Okay, this is peer review is not very complicated, so it's fine. Yeah. So when you're doing this, if something, see, what happens in taxation is every section will help you to solve a problem or will help you to move to the, let's say, what exactly happens in taxation. You're supposed to do this. When there's an exception, do this. So let's say it says that tax is collected but not paid. So this is the problem. And what is the solution? You go and take 18%. So there is a rule, there is an exception, there is a solution. So how do you nullify your exception? By paying a penalty. You're not being arrested, you're not being thrown out of the business, you're asked to pay penalty. So it always works like this. Now you have to focus on the solution part. Let's say this talks about the problem is tax collected but not paid. Make sure, what is it, 18% interest, 10% interest, 12% interest. So keep highlighting this part. Okay, so this is something very important because it only revolves around this three. What is the rule? I would say, what is the rule, and what is the exception, which means that how is the rule broken. Next, what is the solution? How do you make good, or how do you compensate for the rule broken? These are the three steps. So here, the solution part is very, very important. Is it within 30 days or within 15 days? Is it 10%, 20%? So highlight the solution part so that you'll be able to replicate or remember better in the exam. And it is worth it, because at the end of the day in the exam you just have to answer 3 to 4 questions right. The entire effort is totally worth it. So others who are yet to do it, this is something which is super important. Even if it takes 25 minutes, 30 minutes for writing one page or even more, it is definitely worth it. It is a part of your revision. It includes some amount of writing, and it includes, see, this is an exercise from the endgame optimization. So you doing this will help you conquer the subject better, will help you remember and retain better, and the moment something comes out of it in the exam, you will be able to dump it just like that. You can write it really fast, right? So this is the reason why I'm recommending you this. Now as I said, I'll also tell you how I do things practically, like how I kind of plan things, how I create a structure each and everything. So how many of you do? How many of you know your story? How many of you heard about Shraddha Sharma or your story? Anyone? Shraddha Sharma or your story? Anytime read any article? Anything? Okay, let me show. Yeah. She's the most well-connected entrepreneur in India. Even she got an interview with Modi also, and she's well connected with the government. She's well, and Ratan Tata ji has directly invested in her. She has, interviewed every famous entrepreneur in India, every famous entrepreneur, and she's, extremely connected. You can see, and I believe in one of the years, she's the highest searched Indian after Modi. Yeah. Okay. The reason why most of you might not know this is you're living in a very small ecosystem. The reason why I'm telling you small ecosystem is I still see, I kind of closely follow what most of the students are all the time. When there is no exam, there are multiple videos talking about when would the exam date be announced, when would the exam date be announced. Both the faculties are like that, all the students are like that, everybody is interested in when the exam is announced. Once the exam is announced, then everybody wants an exception. Either you want a postponement, or either students want an opt-out, or they want to file an PIL in Supreme Court. So if you're stuck in one significant thing for a very long time, your insights or your mindset will get freezed. It would not see what else is happening. What else? Too many things are happening. In the last 2 years, the world has so much changed so much that which was not even possible in the last 10, 12 years. 2 years changed everything. 2 lockdowns are I would say this epidemic in 2 phases has changed everything. By the time you come out and you join a job, it would be totally different. One reason why you may not notice it is because you don't know the before after scenario. Somebody who has already worked, somebody who is already working will be able to track the changes faster. But otherwise, it is very difficult for you to track the before after scenario. Now, why am I discussing this? The reason is I recently spoke to her and I have an appointment with her once again. But I kind of have a 10 minutes. I kind of have around 10 minutes. Now, there are two things which I want to tell you. Number one, you have to be super ready. The reason why I'm telling you is exam. It could be May 21st or it could be July 5th. It could be in August, whenever it is. You have to be ready. There should be an internal cutoff. There should be an internal cutoff, and you have to be ready by that time. And then you'll get tested. Exam is an opportunity, right? Exam is an opportunity to prove yourself. Exam is an opportunity to prove yourself that you're ready, to prove yourself that you're eligible to clear. That is an opportunity, right? Now I'll tell you what it is. So for me, any interaction or any meeting is an opportunity to convey something, or to prove what we are already doing right, or to invite somebody for a collaboration. So we always do that. Now this is a 10-minute meeting. This is a 10-minute meeting, and I kind of planned each and every minute. So minute one, what is it? Where am I going to start? Minute two, minute three. This is the first part. I divided the meeting. This is all imaginary, guys. This is not the agenda. The meeting does not have an agenda. So it is going to be a meeting, but you need to be so precise. So for me, there will be 2 or 3 phases of a meeting in any person. In each phase, I have to help them understand everything in a precise manner. If I have one day, I'll kind of give complete clarity. If I have only 10 minutes, how do I help them understand everything in 10 minutes? Whatever takes 10 hours, you have to plan it. I have to spend 30-40 hours in concising this. So this is how we are building minute by minute framework. And the proposal, this is just a proposal, but we are already ready with the proposal and half of the product. We have already created we call it a mock-up. So the code, the agreement is not yet done. The proposal, we don't even know what will happen, but we have already built the codes. We have already given the content, we've already given the estimated sales, we've already given the estimated cost, we've already given the estimated timelines. Now this is the difference between somebody who believes in what they are doing, and 90% of the people would be like, okay, let me talk, let her agree, then probably I'll think about building something. But the problem is, when you give an imaginary thing in your mind, that doesn't convey any level of seriousness. When you're giving an imaginary thing in your mind, that doesn't convey any level of seriousness. And just because you're more prepared, that doesn't mean you'll be successful all the time. But be prepared for success. Be prepared for success. Once again, I'm telling you, there should be a clear-cut cutoff. There should be a stopping point. There is a starting point. There is a stopping point. Most likely, the stopping point is this May 30th June, where you stop everything. You just stop everything. You just be ready when the exam is happening on your particular date, whether it's June 5th, July 5th, or July 12th, or some other date according to you. Just present it. Done. That's it. No other nonsense. Don't bring any other emotional nonsense or nuisance. And if you're not being this person, the problem which you are facing right now in CA, see, there is a super student, there is a struggling student. Simple, right? There are only two things. Somebody who is struggling, those are the ones who will come to us, or who will go to somebody else to become a when I say super student is somebody who doesn't have problems, who has found the solutions. Similarly, when you go to an employee, when you become an entrepreneur, you're either struggler or you're super. That's it. The world is going to be polarized. There is no midway. So this is exactly how it is going to work. For you to become this, your readiness is very important. And there has to be a clear-cut finishing point. I'm seeing that a lot of you are not able to finish things. You are just dragging it, still dragging it. One chapter is left out, half chapter is left out. Okay, still thinking about it, 2 groups, 1 group. So if you're not even clear, right now, there is no business. Please understand that. There is no business in somebody like this. So fluctuating. What would you go and represent in income tax department? What would you do with MCA? How do you represent your client? You just have to question yourself. Your age is not going to increase by 10 years, right? You clear, you don't clear, that's it. You are the same. The caliber is the same. The capacity is the same. But I'm telling you about how you are taking decisions and how you are solving problems. And every problem discussed in the session is I would say this is something which is the solution is given taking into consideration a problem which is already arising, which will potentially arise. But when you listen to something and leave it, what will happen is you'll get a feeling that you have solved it, but you are not actually solved it. Now, when you ask me about the micro revision, what should I study one day before the exam or 1 hour before the exam? I told you this exercise. But again, less than 30%, 40% will do the exercise because 50% of them are happy. Okay, I found a solution. You found a solution, but you are not implemented it. You found the magic pill, but you're not taken it. You have to take it inside, right, for it to start working. So at least in the last 2 weeks, please focus on action. Please focus on action. Just action, nothing else. Nothing else. No new idea, no new information. Stay focused on pure action. And once you decide something, please respect your decision. There is no right and wrong. You decide something, you make it right and wrong. One group is right, both groups are right. Not writing both groups are right. Leaving CA is right. Everything is right. Everything you do are right. Everything you do not do is right. That is not a problem. But what is it you are deciding and what is it you're making it right? Okay. So at least that has to happen. That will solve all the unnecessary nonsense. And I think the stress relief techniques, I shared the video already in the group, and also we have made it access to in the open video section also we have added. Please don't come back to us with the same problems over and over again. If I missed it, you can watch it aramse. And we are progressing forward. And July 1st, I'm assuming that we are done with the syllabus. I'm assuming that we are done with the revision. We're only focused on the end game, the final level of final game, the final examination. And for those videos who have already been shared, I looked into all the videos, so you'll get a confirmation on Saturday, as I said, for people who want to become a part of this end game.